Thank you for attending the Cannabis Investor Webcast. I would like to thank our platinum sponsors, Nemus Bioscience, Kaya Holdings, formerly known as Alternative Fuels Americas, Aurora Cannabis, Tariga Sciences, Organigram, and Technical420. To view Technical420 latest stock report, please visit www.technical420.com. To ask a question of our presenter, please type your question in the question box in the lower right screen. Our presenter today is Michael Berger, founder and president of Technical420. I will now turn the screen and make you a presenter. Michael, give me a couple of seconds.
My name is Michael Berger. I'm here with Technical420. So Technical420 is an online research firm that is focused on providing non-biased, up-to-date research and analysis on over 100 publicly traded cannabis companies. Our mission is to provide you with the most comprehensive, accurate information and analysis on these cannabis companies. We have an in-house team of analysts who are focused on devoting their time to separating the winning stocks from the meddling stocks. We've been featured in Bloomberg, Washington Post, NBC, Yahoo Finance, Miami Herald. We've gotten a lot of great publicity, and we're looking forward to expanding our operations in the near future. So who am I? My name is Michael Berger, and I used to work at Raymond James Financial. While I was working there, I received a number of calls from financial advisors asking about marijuana stocks. Due to the regulatory nature of the financial industry, we were not able to provide them with any information or analysis. So I recognized this information void, decided to leave my promising job in the equity research department as a senior energy and MLP specialist to start up Technical420. Prior to working in the equity research department, I was a financial and business analyst, and I was also a compliance advisor. I'm in the middle of studying for level 2 of the CFA, and I graduated from Florida State University with a finance and economics degree. What separates Technical420 from the competition? The biggest thing that separates us is that we're independent. No employee, no analyst is allowed to purchase any shares of any marijuana stocks that we cover or what we're talking about. This makes it non-biased, and we have no emotional attachment, and it's able to give you an independent view of these stocks. We also do not accept money from any of these cannabis companies for favorable ratings or for any reports. We write a lot of daily free articles, but we don't take money to write about these companies. Everything we write about is independent and non-biased. We've created partnerships with a lot of recognized organizations in the finance and cannabis industry. We're working with The Money Show, and they've recognized Technical420 as the expert research firm in the marijuana industry, and we are going to be working with them at the Cannabis Investor Symposium at their upcoming Las Vegas show. There's going to be a lot of great companies out there, and you can really get a good understanding of this industry by attending. We're also an expert speaker and host on Steve Crowley's Money Talk radio show. He's recognized Technical420 as a go-to source for non-biased and accurate information on publicly traded cannabis companies. We have an extensive product pipeline that's the first of their kind. We provide non-biased research reports that are company-specific, and they represent the most accurate and up-to-date information. We've also recently launched a comprehensive industry report that values the entire cannabis industry from the sum of the parts analysis. We'll get into these products a little bit later. We also have a rapid growing following on multiple social media platforms. We have over 2,000 followers on Twitter, over 25,000 on Facebook, and we are growing every day. So how do we analyze these companies? Because they do not trade like your typical investment. They don't trade like an Apple. They don't trade like a JP Morgan or any oil and gas stock. These stocks are very volatile and they're developmental in nature. So you really need to take an in-depth approach, and that's what we do. We've developed a proprietary algorithm that merges technical, fundamental, momentum, and market sentiment data into one algorithm to yield the most comprehensive analysis possible. We look into many factors, which we'll go over in a little bit. Another thing that separates us is how we do our analysis. We have access to Thomson Reuters real-time research and price exchange, and we can access this information as soon as it hits the tape. So any information that comes out on a company, our subscribers find out about it first. We also are working with Icentium LLC. They're a data mining technology company, and they measure market sentiment versus stock price by ingesting millions of tweets, and they measure these tweets based on who's actually tweeting. You can't just listen to anyone tweeting any day. They won't value it. For example, they'll take Jim Cramer's opinion much more seriously than anyone else's. Pro Trader subscribers have access to this type of information. So we look into a number of factors when it comes down to measuring the potential value of these companies. Some of the factors we look into include their current price, moving averages, momentum, institutional ownership. It's a very important thing to look into. Dilution potential, insider trading transactions. And when I mean that, I mean insiders in the company. So if the director is selling stock, it could be a bad sign. Look into states that they operate in because, we want to see where they're levered to. These companies could be levered to different states which have more growth potential than others. We want to look into the potential acquisitions that they're making and distribution deals they have, as well as partnerships they've created. Look into their revenue growth, as well as what exchange they're trading on. So what do we offer? We offer our products access to our Pro Trader dashboard, which includes our premium newsletters, premium feed, priority messaging, premium indices, stock of the week, and watch list. We'll go over these much closely very soon. We also sell our industry analysis report. We also sell company-specific research reports. And we'll be announcing some great new features in late April that will be included in our new Pro Trader dashboard. So what do we really offer? We have a subscription service. That's what everything is kind of boiled down into. You can access all of our investment services besides our research reports through our subscription service, which right now it costs $19.99 a month. We'll be upgrading our platform in less than 2 months, and it'll include not a lot of new features. These features include you'll get 1 free research report per month. You'll get access to text message alerts, so you'll be able to receive trade alerts to your phone as soon as we send them out. This will enable you to act on our information much quicker. We will also have a lot of new features coming out, so get ready for a good time. Our prices are going to go up when this new service launches, but if you subscribe before it's released, you'll be grandfathered in at your current price. Our prices, we're going to be creating 3 packages. One will be $10, $20, and the one we're offering now that's currently offered $20 will be $40. If you sign up today, you get that future $40 a month subscription for $19.99. And if you're not sold on it already, subscribers get a free week trial when you sign up. You can cancel anytime. It's not going to cost you $1 if you want to cancel. So there's really nothing to lose. Here we have an example of our premium newsletters. These are sent out before the market opens at 9 a.m. every day and after the market closes at 4:15 p.m. every day. We go over news that's hit the tape, potential investment opportunities, and really what to expect going forward out of this market. Our premium feed is where our subscribers can access our stock analysis and research. We usually make 5 to 7 posts a day, and let's go over a few of our recommendations so you get a better understanding about how we do this. So one of the things that separates us is that we have a much wider knowledge of this industry. We know of way more companies operating it, and we know when they start trading. We were watching Natural Resplendent Enterprises, a private company. They went public, but they didn't trade for a while, and we monitored it closely. Once it started trading, we loved the story, we loved their management, we loved the moves that they were making, so we recommended to buy it at 19 cents. Currently, shares are traded for 55 cents, and our subscribers have gained nearly 200%. This is in less than 2 months. Investment banks, hedge funds, they try to get you 15% return in a year. 200% in less than 2 months, you can't get that anywhere else. We focus on the best companies. So when we saw GWPH trading for below $70 a share, and we knew what's in their product pipeline, we had to recommend them. Around a little bit over 2 months later, stock's trading at 100, 150. We tell people to sell because we have a feeling that they peaked. The reason why it went up is because Merrill Lynch added it into their trading portfolio. So a lot more shares are traded. Moral of the story is we are on top of this every day. Next one. We recommended this company called Alga on March 27th at about 2.5 cents. On April 6th, we recommended selling the shares because they were trading at 7.5 cents. So 212% gain in less than a month. Like I said, you can't get this anywhere else. This type of growth in the cannabis industry is amazing. But we don't just tell you about companies you should buy. We also tell you about companies that you should just focus on because they're legitimate. So we posted about this one company, Medbox, when they were up 95% one day saying that they're overvalued. The company's in the middle of a bunch of lawsuits. They have a lot of people selling, insiders are selling the stock and getting out. And since then, shares are down 60%. So we just try to help you focus on the right companies so you are investing in long-term winners. We have short-term and long-term trading strategies. Our strategies meet any type of investor, and we specify if it's a short or a long-term opportunity. We have a priority messaging system. This is, if you have any questions about the stock market, a stock, how to trade, anything, reach out during trading hours, and you'll have an analyst get back to you within the hour. I will usually be the one getting back to you. So you're speaking with the president of the company right within an hour of sending a question. You can't get that anywhere else either. We're focused on providing great information, but customer service is our main goal. We're a service-first company, and we think that overall customer service is a dwindling trait out of many companies, and it's something that we are focused on. There's no such thing as a stupid question. We're here to help you. We also offer access to our premium indices. So you got to think about this as a mutual fund or an ETF. However, these are not actually traded. What it does is it tracks a group of stocks that we're monitoring in a certain sector to really give you a little bit more safety. We also give you access to our stock of the week. Every Wednesday, we release a new stock of the week, and it's based off a variety of factors. We don't only select buy companies, we also select companies to avoid. So for right now, this is our best way of blocking off this information to people who are not premium members, because a lot of times we put shorts, which means a company we recommend selling. You also get access to our watch list. Our watch list is a list of companies that we are watching more closely than others. These companies are on the watch list for a number of reasons, and as you can see, we give you pretty extensive analysis when it comes down to why is it on the list, what are the catalysts for growth, and what's our stock thesis. So how big can the cannabis industry be? And the answer is huge. We expect the cannabis industry to one day breach and surpass the tobacco industry. The reason why it's going to grow so much is because of deregulation that's occurring across the United States. Legal state markets continue to grow and develop, and new state markets are continuing to open. Our industry report that we discussed earlier has an algorithm in there where we developed a model to measure that this will be a $500 billion industry by 2030. These estimates are far beyond what anyone else is trying, whatever anyone else has come up with. And the reason why is because they're doing it wrong. They're looking at this industry from the size of how much marijuana is sold, but the industry is much greater than that. We look at how much marijuana is sold on a recreational and medical level, as well as the size of the industrial hemp industry and how big it can be, the pharmaceutical industry and how big that can be, and all the ancillary businesses. Because think about the gold rush. People didn't make their money selling gold, mining for gold. They made their money selling the picks and the axes and the shovels. So we look into the entire stream, upstream, downstream, midstream. We cover the entire seat to sale, for better terms. This report, we sell it for less than every other service that sells a similar report, and we offer more. It's over 100 pages, and it gives you access to 60 pages worth of really industry analysis and what we expect to happen, as well as 40 pages of stock. So learning about the stocks, learning about the companies, learning about the entire industry. You can get that from this report. We offer it for $299. Other services offer their reports for $3,000 or $500. Because you guys are on this webinar today, we will offer it to you for half off. If you want to take down this code to purchase it, it's only going to be working for the next few days. And the code is Industry500, lowercase I. Use the code Industry500 to get 50% off this report for the next week. We provided you with an executive summary of this report. And pretty much, this is the first of its kind, and anyone that's interested in this industry can benefit from it. It gives you an in-depth look into the industry, its subsectors, as well as its constituents. It's over 100 pages long and measures the entire industry. Each metric we used was tested and retested to ensure that there was a strong correlation between the variable and market growth. We were able to identify a number of key metrics that influence industry growth. We looked into metrics such as what is the median income, what is the age range, population, legal barriers. How many people make up that age range? Because you got to think about how many young people are going to be growing up over these next 15 years. I mean, it's a pretty big number. A number of financial firms have tried to measure the size of the cannabis market, but as I said, it's understated, incomplete, because they only measure it by the amount of revenue generated from selling marijuana. That's not all this industry is. It's so much greater, and it's amazing. We did our estimates on a sector-by-sector analysis in which 4 unrelated sectors and their subsectors were measured. Here's a few sample pages from the report. As you can see on the left, we look at the overall industry as well as its catalysts, and then on the next few pages we talk about our favorite players as well as our grade. We give each industry an overall grade. We give you an extended forecast look. So we look into a lot of different factors that goes into this, and when there's questions really about our analysis, we answer those questions in our appendix. So please check this out. In our store, you'll find all of our research reports. This is where we have all of our stock reports on our companies. We have around 10 reports right now, and they're all updated and accurate. Any investor can benefit from this research. Don't forget to register today and receive a 1-week free trial. Our prices are going up in less than a month or less than 2 months when we launch a new service, and now is the time to act. We will provide you with the best analysis, the best information, and it's independent. That's what you need. We help you make money by providing independent analysis. We speak with the management of these companies on a weekly basis, daily basis actually. They call me all the time. It's kind of ridiculous, but it's awesome because this is the next big thing, and investors really need to be focused on the right companies. They need to use a service that gives you that focus. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn, and feel free to contact me by using my email address listed below. Don't forget to check us out and look at the 1-week free membership. That's it, Darwin.
Okay, first question, Michael. Out of the approximate 90 publicly traded cannabis companies, how many do you have buy recommendations on?
At the moment, we have buy recommendations on less than 20% of those companies. This is because a lot of these companies, we don't see them as a long-term buy because many of them are scams. For this reason, we have our short and our long-term recommendations. And our short-term recommendations change very rapidly. But for long-term recommendations, we have probably less than 10 buys right now.
Now, which subsector in the cannabis industry are you more positive on? For instance, it's, a lot of the research analysts are more positive on the testing, publicly traded cannabis testing companies. Would that subsector be the top of your list?
That's one of the ones on our top of our list, but one of the top sectors in the cannabis industry right now and for the next few decades will be the biotech sector, because these companies are developing drugs that are cannabis-based drugs, and they have the ability to treat illnesses that are right now not treatable. So these companies are developing treatments for, let's say, Dravet syndrome or glaucoma, which around 3 million people suffer from in the United States. It's unbelievable the type of advancements they're making in the medical field. But we see a lot of value in the grow solutions ancillary businesses, which would include cannabis testing. The thing is that if you're touching a plant, if you're touching cannabis, you have to follow a much more strict group of regulations and guidelines because you're touching right now a substance that's still illegal at the federal level, and you can't use a bank. So we see a lot of value right now in using these grow solutions or ancillary business that are levered to the actual cannabis industry, like the cannabis testing industry.
Okay, so with biotechs, investors shouldn't get scared of, significant funding for biotechs, and FDA is, it's very hard to get FDA approval, so that shouldn't scare individual investors, or investors, period?
No, I wouldn't say that that would be something that would scare investors. One thing you want to look at when you're trying to see the value in a biotech company is you want to look at how much capital they have, because that's very important. But it's very expensive to get your drugs passed by the FDA. For example, GWPH, who we discussed earlier, they were telling us it costs tens of millions of dollars, and some of these companies, they don't even have a $10 million market cap, so their entire company costs less than the FDA approval process. But if you get in with the companies that are making strides, for example, Nemus Biosciences, who has a deal with the University of Mississippi, who's the sole researcher of cannabis for the United States, sole grower of cannabis for the United States government, you could find some diamonds in the rough.
Next question, and I don't know if you can answer this question. How many members are subscribed to Technical420? I don't know if that's external information or not.
Well, we have a very large user base. Right now, we're looking at close to 500 premium members. We have around 1,500 free members, so we're growing rapidly, and we have a lot of big things in our pipeline.
Okay. Next question. How does a cannabis company increase their stock price? Besides, we all know the traditional revenue and profit would increase a company's stock price. But what other steps, and we know that none of the cannabis companies have revenues and earnings. So what steps can they take to increase their stock price?
Well, a number of these companies actually are starting to generate significant revenue. There's a company we talked about recently, Cannabis. They generated $12 million revenue in 2014. So these companies increase their stock price by getting institutional investment, because institutional investments are what give you a stable base of investors. These people are long-term investors. They're not going to be running for the hills when the stock goes down 10%, 20%. They're going to buy more because they're in the stock because they've done their due diligence. They've done their research. They know what they're getting in bed with. So you want to look for the companies that have institutional investors. You want to look for the companies that are taking strides and actually acting on their business plan, satisfying their initiatives, and taking care of their shareholders and acting in their best interests.
Now, are institutional investors in the space yet, or are they?
There's a number of them. Yeah, it's very scarce, but some of these companies have a 40% institutional investor base. Some of them have 5. Some of them have 10. I mean, when you look at your blue chip stocks, those are usually 80% owned, 90% owned by institutional investors and mutual funds. So cannabis it's starting to get there, and investors are starting to recognize the potential. So this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity where you can get in on the ground floor before these institutional investors, before these mutual funds get in.
How hard is it to meet with the senior management teams of these cannabis companies?
It's not that hard. I mean, when you have people like Derwin who sets you up with these companies, or if they're seeing you writing about them all the time, they want to talk to you. They want you to get their story out there. A lot of times, they're shareholders that reach out to us and say, "Hey, please talk to this company. I really think they're a good company." And I will never say no to meeting with a member of senior management of one of these companies. However, a lot of them are very tough to get in touch with. Like, for example, Future World Corp, FWDG. I've called them probably 25 times, and I've never heard back. And it actually turns out that their CFO likes to brag about his Wall Street background, but he was barred from the finance industry for running a Ponzi scheme. And you can check his broker record. So there's a lot of reasons why these guys don't want to talk to us. It's all about doing your due diligence, and that's what we're here for.
Okay, next question. How reliable are your reports if you can't meet directly with the senior management team?
Every report we write, we meet with the senior management team. We're not going to write a report if we haven't met with them.
Okay. Well, that goes into our next question, which is, do individual investors have an unfair advantage? Meaning that, institutional investors have more of direct contact with the senior management team and research analysts, more so than individual investors. Do you?
Yeah, they definitely are at a disadvantage, individual investors. But a lot of times, I mean, you can reach out to their investor relations team, and they'll get you in touch with the senior management if you're persistent. It's all, a lot of these people, they want to talk to shareholders, they want to talk to interested parties. So it's not too hard to actually get in touch with these cannabis companies because they don't have many investors. They don't have many institutional investors calling them to meet with them. There's not too many of me calling them to meet with them either. So these guys are actually very open to speaking with you.
Who would you say, if you had to point out one or two companies that had great shareholder relations or communications with their shareholders, easy, accessible? Could you pinpoint maybe one or two?
Yeah, so GWPH, they have a very good, very strong investor relations department. I've met with Stephen Schultz, who's the VP of their investor relations, and they have a pretty solid team that's there to answer questions. I mean, they're a NASDAQ-traded company, so they're a lot tougher to get in touch with if you want to talk to senior management because they're very busy, and they're actually on the NASDAQ. But another company that has a very good investor relations program and that you can actually probably talk to members of senior management would be someone like American Cannabis Company. They're very receptive as well.
So if I've had several complaints about, investors noted that some of their investments in these cannabis companies, they can't get anybody on the phone. Hey, Mike.
Yeah, I didn't hear the end of that question.
Yeah, I think you're cutting off a little bit.
What was the question?
What is that a reflection of? I had several investors call me and said, they're invested in several cannabis companies, and they can't get anybody on the line. They're not returning calls. So what is that a reflection of? When a company doesn't return their calls, it's hard to get.
It's a poor reflection of the company, and that comes down to you doing your due diligence. If you go to try to get in contact with a company, and you can't even find their website, or they don't have a website where you can reach out to them, they're probably not a good company. It's the 21st century. You should have a website by now. You should have someone always there to speak with your investors. If they're not there to reach out to you or speak with you, it's because they don't have enough capital to hire someone to do that, and they're probably a scam. So that's why you have access to people like us, someone that knows who's the legitimate players and who's not.
Okay. Companies that have a significant amount of shares outstanding, what do you recommend? Do you recommend they do a reverse split? Because when they start producing earnings, it's just hard to get an increase in the EPS due to so many shares outstanding. So
I would never recommend a reverse split. A reverse split is an inorganic way of making your stock price artificially higher. I would recommend cutting down your authorized number of shares or buying back stock as a company. If you are making money and if you're generating revenue, you can start buying back your own stock when it's undervalued. This would be a great way to increase value for shareholders and to show that you believe in your company.
Okay. I was writing that down for myself. Okay. Next question, and we get this every time you present. What is the difference between independent research and paid for research? Is the paid research not as good, or?
Well, you got to think about it this way. If a company is paying a research firm to write a research report on them, they're going to want them to write a favorable report. So you're not getting the actual truth behind the company. And this is a terrible thing for shareholders because it's pretty much a fairy tale that they're telling you. It's not true. And you need to be looking for firms that are independent. You don't want to be paying a company to write your research report because no institutional investor will ever take that seriously. Once they go to because it's all, you just have to look at the disclosures. You don't even need to read the report. Go to the disclosures page, read the first few paragraphs. What you'll usually find is that this company has taken $5,000 on a certain amount of payments, on separate payments of $5,000, and they own stock, and their employees trade on the stock. So you're getting into a company that has the incentive to pump up the price and then sell it, because if they pump up the price with their fairy tale research report, then they have no incentive on holding on to it. They have a reason to sell. So you got to be looking for the research that's independent. I have no reason to give a company a favorable rating besides for the fact that they're a good company. I don't own these stocks. We don't take money from them. The company does not own stock. So you got to look for the sources that are not biased. It's sad to see that a lot of these companies spending their capital on fairy tale research reports when you could really just be getting independent information.
So is it any benefit to an individual investor to view or look at paid for research?
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't hurt you, because the thing is that you'll find out a lot about the company and you'll learn about the company. But what you're going to see is everything sounds great. Everything sounds amazing. They don't ever talk about the risks. And when they talk about the risks, they spin those risks into a positive scenario. So you'll learn a lot about the business and you'll learn a lot about their fundamentals, but you won't really learn the risks. So it's a great way to learn about the company, but I take it with a grain of salt. I would not take that for any validity, any truth, except for if you just want to learn about them and what they're doing. When it comes down to because these companies are going to make projections on these companies' stock prices. You can't project the stock price when these companies aren't even generating revenue. They have so much more left to accomplish before they can get to that stage.
Okay, and this is another question regarding that. Could you provide some color on, and let me get this question straight, could you provide some color on the revenue model for independent research and the revenue model for paid research? In other words, how does paid research work? Is it commissions involved for the analysts? If you can give some color on that.
So independent research, they make, for example, me. I make money by people buying my reports. That's it. Paid research, they don't make money by people reading the reports, because they don't buy them. These reports are given out to the public for free. The way they make money is through the company. So the company will pay them a fee to write this report, and they'll also give them stock in the company. That's usually restricted. So they'll have incentives to write a favorable report that gets the stock price to go higher, because they're also allowed to trade on this stock. Besides for getting restricted stock, they also get freely traded stock sometimes. So let's say you're talking about company ABC at 5 cents. You write a favorable report, goes up to 20 cents. You just made 300%.
So how many firms out there, how many researcher firms are out there for the United States cannabis market right now? And how many of them are independent?
That we are the only independent research firm out there. There's probably 5 research firms out there that are not independent.
Okay, and you're the only one?
We are the only independent research firm.
Okay. Next question. What is the likelihood for cannabis to go from Schedule 1 to Schedule 2?
It's very likely. And the Senate bill, the bipartisan Senate bill, would have that happen, as well as the House bipartisan bill. So right now you're seeing both sides of the federal government work to get this to happen. And with the recent news releases, for example, the National Institute of Drug Abuse released a study that said cannabis kills cancer cells, certain cancer cells, such as brain tumors. So they completely contradicted the Schedule 1 label by saying that, because a Schedule 1 drug has no accepted medical benefits and has a high risk of abuse. But the National Institute of Drug Abuse just said that cannabis kills cancer cells. So it's only a matter of time, and that's one of the biggest catalysts for this industry, especially the biotechs, because it'll make the FDA process much easier. I mean, these companies are having to jump through hoops to try to get their drugs approved. GWPH, one of their drugs is sold in 27 countries. And currently, they're in stage 3 FDA testing with that drug in the United States, which is the last stage.
Okay, now another question here is the patent that the United States government owns. What is that patent? Is it medical marijuana?
So they own it on cannabis, CBD. It's pretty crazy. They pretty much own cannabis.
Okay, so how are other cannabis companies are R&D and producing cannabis, medical marijuana, if the government has the patent? I don't understand that.
I mean, the government doesn't. They're not exercising their patent. They're not trying to flaunt it around saying they have it. It's just it's nothing right now until they start enforcing it. A lot of these companies, they do research outside of the United States. Some of them do it in the UK. Some do it in Colombia. Some do it in Canada. So a lot of these people are based outside the U.S. where they don't have to follow their policies. And the people that are in the U.S., you know, when they try to enforce it, it'll probably be a tax. It'll probably be a yearly fee. But right now, I mean, the federal government's not making any moves on that.
Are you bearish on the recreational marijuana stock market or bullish on the medical marijuana stock market?
I'm more bullish on medical than I am recreational. I think that recreational is going to take time to figure out. I think Colorado is working great, but I think it's just when you look at it from, I'm all for legalizing it recreationally and medically, but I think a lot of the United States is for medical, but not as much recreational. So I think that the medical side will be a much stronger performer than recreational for the next short time.
If you had to name 2 or 3 weaknesses as far as cannabis companies are concerned, what would they be? For instance,
capital is the biggest concern. These companies, they don't have access to capital, so it's really tough to complete their business initiatives because you can't get a loan from a bank usually. Another concern would be the oversaturation in some of these markets. A lot of these markets have so many companies. I mean, look at how many people are making vaporizers nowadays. You got to be in the right sectors, so you got to be focused on the right companies. And then the other concern would be this saturation leads to a lot of companies, and a lot of these companies are scams. So it's just when you have these companies that are scams get shut down by the SEC, it hurts the overall market sentiment. So while a lot of people, what we expect to happen is investors are going to start to consolidate their investments into the best stocks. So you're going to see these certain select few of companies continue to outperform while the rest of the market kind of dwindles away.
Next question. What is the difference between I think we got this last time also. What is the difference between Technical420, Wolf of Weed Street, and Alan Brockstein?
So the difference is that we, number one, as of right now, we're cheaper. And number two, we provide more information for less money, as well as our performance. We have the best analysts, and we have the best people working for us. Just the overall performance speaks for itself. I mean, our stock picks have done very well when you compare it to a lot of the market.
Okay. Well, that concludes our Q&A. Any last comments, Michael?
Yeah, just don't forget to register today and get that 1-week free trial. Also, if you're interested in getting our comprehensive industry report, the code is industry500, lowercase I. You'll get half off. It's the first of its kind, and we have the best products out there. Definitely check them out. Thank you very much, Derwin.
Now, Michael, are you guys attending any conferences in the future?
So we'll be at the Money Show convention in Vegas in mid-May, but we will not be attending the Cannabis Investor Summit because it's during the week, which is during the trading hours. So we're going to have to miss that one. But I recommend a lot of people to check that out because there's a great lineup of companies there. We might be attending the Marijuana Business Daily one in May. But we're not 100% sure on that, and that's in Chicago.
And the one in Florida, is that Orlando, the Money Show?
Oh, the Money Show's in Las Vegas.
Las Vegas? Okay. All right. Well, we really appreciate you presenting. You presented for the past 3 months, and Michael will be back next month, and we really appreciate him being one of our main platinum sponsors every month. Thank you, Michael. Our next presentation is